Good evening and welcome to everyone, those who are here in person as well as those watching online. Our theme this evening is, anybody remembers? Transforming your feelings and transforming relationships. And we have a very practical example, couple, who's going to share with us Ami and Avi. And they've been both meditators for many years and in technology and wellness field. And so without a further ado, I'll invite both of you on the stage. And their son, Ray is also here as part of the audience. So over to you. And we look forward to some interesting examples and conversation between the two of you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. So it is a very interesting topic. I think we're constantly dealing with relationships and we're constantly dealing with our feelings every moment really in our lives. And so why is there a need to transform our feelings? Why is there a need right now to transform relationships? Well, the feelings that we possess come from our thought power. And when we have certain thoughts, it can influence our feelings, and our feelings then project out there, and it has a knock-on effect and can affect anyone we may be in contact with, so our relationships. And so actually, I was asked this question about what would be the best superpower that I would actually, want. If I could choose any superpower, what would it be? I'm not going to tell you my answer right now, but I want you to actually reflect within yourself throughout this conversation that we're having. What would be your ideal superpower? So we've come across superhero movies from a young age or personal super role models, I would say. And for me personally, I have been quite impressed by Nelson Mandela because he stuck to his morals no matter the same country put him into prison, he then became president of. So really, it's because he stuck to his core values, his morals, and he believed in freedom, and he believed everyone was equal. And it didn't matter what he was fighting for. It didn't matter who was against him. It didn't matter, it didn't matter what people were saying about him. Because he stuck to his true feelings, his core values, he managed to find success in the end. And people really loved him for that particular value. And so why I mentioned Nelson Mandela and why is he, for me, a great idol is because I believe, when you are talking and moving around with your true core values, and you, even if the whole world says it's wrong, then you're being true to yourself, and that is self-respect. So I resonated with that feeling. Any superhero or any role model, we resonate with the feeling that actually connects with us. That feeling is something we'd like to feel most of the time. But when we don't get that feeling, what happens is we start to look for it outside. And that's what's happening lately. Now we're looking for everything outside. In fact, I'm in the field of marketing, and it's my job to entice the customer on a product, on what I'm going to resonate a feeling within their product that they're going to wish they had. So really, it's literally turning everything upside down. What we wanted to do really is to go back inside, within, be enough within, so that we can then empower people around us the other way, rather than trying to take from this relationship and that, and maybe a product out there in the market. And in fact, there's a new one lurking around, which is AI, which is even preventing us from actually thinking from our own mind. So if we stop thinking from our own mind and rely on these external forces, I would say, what happens is that we will then forget who we are, and we will get lost in this world. And so the demand on relationships will become higher. We demand a lot in relationships. In fact, I can give you a classic example. We've been training Ray, who's our son, is right here in front of us. And we've been trying to get him, now he's much older, to get him to do things independently. And so I normally, put his food in his plate, and have always been doing that just out of motherly love. But, what I noticed, he went for a trip to Berlin, and it was his first time leaving the house. And he called me to say, like, how much do I eat? How much do I drink? It's because I've been actually doing everything for him. I've not given him the chance to know what is required for him. So when he came back, I decided, you can do this for yourself now. You can do this. It's for your own good. And by explaining that you do it for yourself, cleared a lot of issues, because the first day I didn't say why I didn't put the food in his plate, or why I didn't fill up his water. And that's because I just didn't do it. And so he thought, we don't love him anymore. We've now lost interest in him. It's a classic example of what we do as parents. May be overprotective in a relationship. We might do a lot for the other person, but then the other person may think that it's part of their, right to have that, which is fairly true, but actually it's also not true, because then we create dependencies. And if I don't get that glass of water, then I'm not loved anymore. Can you see how it can change the feeling? But not really. We love you more. That's why we want you to become independent. And sometimes we require to explain these things, because when we explain it, then it makes sense. And then there was no issues there. So that was a classic example of what happens is we, on a daily basis, tend to sort of take things for granted and demand things from relationships. And when they're not fulfilled, we don't like this relationship anymore. We can't stay in this relationship anymore. We can't stand it. We blame the situation, like definitely coming here was a little bit difficult in terms of the traffic, but just thinking and going within and understanding my purpose, what I'm doing, and what I need to do to get to what thought pattern I need to have, that will retrain my mind. So all the time, what I need to do is constantly learn and relearn and reteach myself to say, you know what? everything in life has its purpose, has its meaning, and it's going to happen regardless. I cannot control the outside. The only thing I really have control is the inside, is my thinking, is my feelings about a situation. So I want to, Avi will share a classic example of, put this practically with you so that he'll take you through that journey.
Yeah, so I'll take you through a walking meditation, not walking, but steps forward and back in a minute. But we were speaking to some of our friends before, and when you ask them what's the best thing about your lives, relationships, and then a few months later, oh, Avi, relationships maybe not the best thing. And so to think about relationships are wonderful because you can really show the best values of yourself, a lot of love, a lot of caring. On the opposite spectrum, with relationships, you can also get very, very insecure, and you can get very sensitive, and you can be easily influenced by behavior changes, as Amy was just explaining. And there are many situations where we would want to self-assess and really take a step back and think about, wow, somebody came in front of me. Why did I react that way? And really think about how we can actually change ourselves. Or, unfortunately, there's some times where you just project the negativity onto others. You pass the blame. And, in relationships, it happens a lot. And that's the challenges with relationships, because relationships are in such a way that you sometimes put away your barriers and you just let everything out. But the reality is, whatever the emotional reaction you have, it's actually something that's already in you. So somebody could push your buttons or whatever. You have the buttons inside you that could be pushed. And it's really important to self-assess around, why am I reacting in this sort of way? And what's the point? Where do I want to be? As I reflect on relationships, we are with a lot of people. So there's a lot of variety of people that we speak to, are in relationships with, and so on and so forth. It's quite diverse. But when you think about the relationships, how do you want your relationships to be? You could have relationships where you have, good feelings, pure attitude to one another, really empathetic and embracing the other person, lifting them up. Or sometimes we know relationships can actually work from an opposite perspective and really put you down. It can be negative in terms of your lifestyle. But you know what? I think relationships are a good trigger for you to assess where you stand. Like, I think with relationships every day, there's going to be challenges, conflicts. It could be at work, it could be at home. Whoever you're having a relationship with, there's always going to be conflict. But that's not the problem. The problem really is, how do you react to that conflict? How do you react to that relationship? And so, if you constantly self-assess, you'll be able to see where you stand, and you'll have plenty more opportunities in your life where these relationships start to impact you. As I reflect on my life, many years ago, I started self-assessing quite a bit. And I started reflecting around what I could do better. The problem with me is I do get sensitive a little bit. Amy would know; she can tell you everything. Sometimes I just want to remain silent, which isn't great, or hold grudges, and so that's a good measure on where I used to be versus where I'm at now. I think it's a big difference. It's nowhere near where I'd want to be. So I've developed this distaste for anger. Like, I really don't like it. I don't like to have issues or make problems. But the problem is, I really need to work on myself to get to that level, which is why I really value the relationships that I have, because able to see where I'm at. It's something that you've constantly got to work on. But I thought it would be good, or actually, Amy and I thought it would be good to do this meditation type thing. It's completely different. So for those of you online as well, you can participate. So what I want everybody to do is stand up. And for those in between chairs, why don't you face to the side? Because what you're going to do is you're going to take 3 or 4 steps forwards and backwards. So you give yourself enough space. If you don't have space, you can come out here. And we're going to do a meditation commentary that's quite personal. So don't worry, you don't have to share what you're thinking. But what I want you to do, I'm going to read a few lines, but I want you to think about a situation. It could be a relationship or something that's really troubling you, and really think about that situation and why it's troubling you. So I'll give you a moment. For those of you online, feel free to stand up as well and participate. Make sure there's enough space so you don't fall down, you don't injure yourself. We don't want people to get hurt. So I'll give you a minute. Think about a situation where you're having a conflict with a relationship, or just a conflict in general, or a situation that's really a problem, and you really want to think about how you're going to resolve it. And we'll go through the various stages. So I'll give you about 30 seconds to think about it. So in your mind, describe your situation. Who is around you? And what do you notice? So really live that situation. Who is around you? What do you notice? What are you feeling? Now I want you to take a step back, just a small step back. Think about how you'd normally react in that situation. Think about your old habits. How are you behaving? How does your behavior impact others around you? How does your behavior impact the atmosphere? For those of you who can't, take another step back. Look deeper inside you. How is this conflict or this problem impacting your being? Think about what buttons are being pressed. Think about what emotions are holding you down. Think about what you're struggling to let go of. Think about what's the quality of your thinking. Now I want you to take another small step back. See the situation from a different angle now. I want you to think about what skills you have available to you and you're not using. I want you to think about what are the best qualities you have which can actually serve you in this conflict or problem. I want you to think about the communication skills you have, be it verbal, the energy you generate from your mind, the thoughts and the powers that you spread out, the positive thoughts. And I want you to take a step forward. Think about the best version of yourself. Think about the good wishes you can generate. Generate those good wishes. Feel a positive transformation within yourself. Feel this positivity spread to the others that are around you. and to the atmosphere and world in general. I want you to take a step forward, take a breath, bring feelings of peace inside you, bring feelings of love, think about the conflict. Here's the person who is in distress in front of me, someone I do love, someone I have a relationship with, and they are in distress. The best thing I can do is to shower them with positivity, good vibrations, and that'll impact them. Feel the positivity that you have flow into the conflict, into the problem that you're experiencing. Feel mercy towards them. You don't want to put them down any further. Even if they're wrong, even if they're right, it doesn't matter. They're suffering. Take a step forward. When you meet anybody, have the intoxication that you're going to have a lot of peace, love, and happiness. These are your core values. I want you to think about how your vision has changed, how your attitude has changed. Notice how the positive power empowers yourself, purifies the atmosphere, and purifies everybody around you. Now take a step forward again. I am the master of my vibrations. I keep my mind and feelings clean. And by serving with this awareness, every soul across the whole world that I come into contact with or don't come into contact with will benefit from the positive energy that I'm feeling right now. And take a final step forward. I am an instrument for the whole world, and I give power to the whole world. With this intoxication, let's take half a minute to spread this positive energy we're feeling to the rest of the world, to everybody that needs this positivity. Om Shanti. So sometimes when we have situations where there's a lot of havoc, we just need to stop, pause. Don't let the emotions cloud your judgment. It's very hard. Sometimes you just walk away, move away, or find something. But if you take a moment, you'll find that just changing that habit, by just taking a moment, it completely changes it and makes a big difference.
Yeah, so when we went through this journey, we first experienced the emotions that immediately comes from a reaction. What we're trying to do is change our reaction to now more of a response. Because the immediate reaction is not at the moment natural to be, cooperating or supportive or understanding. In fact, because we're surrounded with such environments where we're reading in the newspapers, a lot of negativity, or we watch things happen just on the street in front of us or in a shop or anything around us, it's the negativity has filled the atmosphere. And so it becomes really hard to sort of fight that and then transform into a positive soon enough so that I can respond rather than react. So what we're trying to do is fill that gap, that bridge, so that we can then change anything from negative into positive. And then our immediate reaction will be positive. But it's a process. And so don't pressurize yourself. That's one thing I've learned. Don't pressurize yourself if you keep falling into the pattern of, oh no, I told myself not to react this way, but I did it again and again and again and again. And it can happen every day for even years to come. But the idea behind it is not to give in to that negativity completely. It doesn't matter. It happened. You this time realize it happened. You're going to take the process of maybe doing a similar exercise of actually when you have your own quiet space and time to actually visualize the situation again if it happens again in the future and how I can react differently. So then I'm now creating the right thought processes within my mind. And the more I repeat those thought processes within my mind, it starts becoming a habit. That's how habits form. They form by us repeating and doing the same thing again and again. So we need to create the habit of responding better and better and better and better each time. Feeling better and better and better each time. When I start to feel better, I automatically am going to give that elevated, higher frequency vibration within the atmosphere. If I'm happy, I'm telling you, the houses were really happy. And if I'm not happy, my home can become completely opposite. No one is happy. And it can stay even for hours until my mood changes. And even maybe my mood changes, but the other person can't catch up anymore, because they've taken it even a little bit more harder. So obviously we all at different levels. And it's wrong to expect other people to be at your level or thinking that you're, at a higher level or a lower level. Everyone is in their own perfect level. They're exactly where they need to be at this moment. So we're very fast in judging. Actually, we become so clever and so smart in judging that we literally can label anyone or anything, like, oh, if this person in front of me can drive a little bit faster, then maybe I'll get to my destination. It's the driver's fault. It's, so we're blaming the driver. So now what I've done is I've given my power away to the driver. I have no power. It's now the driver who controls my thoughts, my feelings, and everything. Do we want that? I don't think so. We're irritated by the driver. And who is irritated by the driver? Is it the driver who is irritating, or am I irritated? That is a question to ask. I created the feelings of irritation, and that irritating feeling is now going out into the atmosphere and probably will reach the other person, and they will become irritated as well because of my thought patterns and my feelings. But I say, no, that person is super irritating. Whenever I see them, I just get irritated completely. They're just irritating in nature. And if I keep thinking that, I'm literally instilling that kind of frequency in the world. And that's what we need to stop straight away. Because if I'm getting irritated, that means it's me who is the irritation right now. Because the irritation came from within. So transforming that, taking a step back, looking at what is the power I need or what is the thought pattern I need to change that irritation to acceptance, for example. I accept the situation as is. It is what it is. And I will go with the flow. It completely changes the situation. Negativity tends to sort of get caught quickly. Positivity tends to come, take its time, but it stays longer. And that's the good thing about it. So as quickly as negativity comes, it can actually disappear. It's just a matter of changing the mindset. It's a matter of going in. So yes, there's temporary fixes like listening to music. Maybe some people, feel much happy because they exercise because of certain hormones being released. Really, those are all temporary solutions. If the music's not available, now I'm going to be sad. That's it. My favorite song has just stopped working and I cannot hear it. And now this is just not working. This is how we lose control, or we give power to an external force. If I don't exercise today, I'm just, not going to be well. Some people have this mentality. I used to have this mentality of, if my house is not tidy or in a certain order, then you know what? I can't think. I really can't think. So it was, really, I take the extra steps to make it so in order. And if one thing's out of place, I'm thinking, why is this out of place?
That'll be my fault.
and it's true, it's like a vicious cycle. But it's not his fault. It's actually, I'm making that my happiness depends on an object in a certain place. How am I putting all my happiness in an object? It's just ridiculous if you come to think about it, because happiness is from within. So now when things are out of order, and they do go out of order, pillows everywhere, this everywhere, if you have a son, it kind of, makes sense. But sometimes the room's a little bit, but I accept it. It is what it is. I will go and fix it. I will, when no one's around. But I'm not worried if it's messed up at that time. It doesn't affect me anymore in that way. It doesn't, because I have the power within me to control that situation. The control is within my mind. So this is just like classic everyday examples. But there are 5 things that really, really helped to make the shift for me personally. One of them is that visualization. So visualizing the perfect me. And if we take that time, maybe in the morning or in the night before you go to sleep, when you visualize the perfect you, your ideal life, the ideal situation, everything around you, perfection. Visualize it. When you visualize it, then you go deeper and you think about the values that you really enjoy within that perfection. Yeah. So that comes to our superpower. So what is that superpower we want? And for me, the superpower was to be absolutely stable, that no one can shake me or move me or anything like that. Absolutely no one, nothing, not even myself in a way, because we are sometimes our own sort of person who puts ourselves down. So that superpower, if you visualize it, think of your own superpower. And if you visualize it every day and make it so real for you, then it becomes a reality. It literally can become a reality. Don't expect the reality to be immediate. For some people, it can be, because it's a simple change of thought, regardless. But if you do it every day, the result will 100% be there. Just like a child, when they start walking, first they're crawling, sometimes they don't want to walk, and then all of a sudden, they realize the advantage of walking. There's advantage, they can reach things now, they can get things, they can run around, there's more freedom, and so they start to walk. And they keep walking and they get better at walking. In the beginning, they fall, and then eventually they can start running now. So everything that we do, there's some steps and methods of actually getting there. But you do get there in the end. It's just a process of repeating. So one of them is that visualization. The other thing is really be grateful for anything and everything that happens in your life. Gratitude is such an incognito power that if we can all just accept and have this gratitude, we will all be so much more happier, because where we are right now is absolutely perfect. We can breathe, we are healthy, we have lovely people around us, we have a world, the government supporting us, regardless, maybe other people's view might not think so, but actually we have so many things going. There are traffic lights for a reason, so that accidents don't occur. I'm grateful for that. Don't be angry with the traffic light. It turns red straight away before you even get there. It's actually preventing an accident. If we're grateful for the food we eat, for every single thing that we have, the air we breathe, you will find that it changes the whole, frequency again. We've got this exercise that we do at home every night without fail, is that when we put Ray to bed, we say, okay, 3 points of gratitude, tell us what you're grateful for today. And then we all take turns and we will say what's grateful. When you say it out loud, rather than just only in your mind, you're even emphasizing it more. And then actually, a few times I've heard that, oh, Ray was grateful for me. I mean, I even got even happy, if you know what I mean. Oh, he's grateful for something. And, so it's not I'm depending on that gratitude. But these things, when you put it out there in the atmosphere, it will change the vibration. It will change my feelings within me. And it will grow those happy, good feelings. Another tip, which I think is so vital in this day and age with technology, is to know when to plug out, unplug, know when to unplug. We are literally connected to our devices. I'm telling you, when we get up, we look at our device. When we have a little bit of free time, maybe we're even waiting for the lift, we look at our device. When we're waiting, around, or when we need something, we need to go on our device. Before we go to bed, maybe we need to set the alarm or what have you. We need our device. We're connected to our device, sometimes more than ourselves, in a way, really connected to your true, authentic self, the being, the one who is the power, the one that actually had the power to create such a device to help, to support. These are fantastic supports. They're there. They're great for communication. They're great for getting things done, but I shouldn't be dependent on it. There's several times where, yes, I have forgotten my phone, in certain places. I'm like, I can't do anything without my phone, right? Sometimes you think my life is in my phone. Everything's in there. All the addresses, all the main numbers. We've learned now not how to remember any numbers. Long ago, we remembered every person's number we knew. We knew it. Even it doesn't matter how long the number was. We remembered it. Now I can't remember anyone's number because, well, there's a device doing it for me, which is fine. It's fine to take that support, but I shouldn't be dependent on it. So certain things I need to be in charge of. I need to have that sort of self-respect within to actually plug off. When I'm going on social media, it may be great to looking at other people's lives and what they're doing and what have you. A great distraction, but it's distracting me from who I am, distracting me from being with my own self. How do I expect or put the pressure on a relationship that they need to be with me when I can't even be with my own self because I literally can't? Sometimes some people keep themselves super busy, so busy, they don't give themselves free time so that they don't have to deal with what's happening within, So they tend to, get themselves super busy. And then you get the other extreme who keep themselves completely free, completely like no care in the world, which is fine. But even sometimes they deny even going within themselves and actually facing what they're doing. So you can get extreme ends. In life, absolutely everything in balance is the best solution. Everything in balance. When you feel like you've done too much of the devices, too much at work or what have you, take the time out to take care of yourself. Give yourself that break. Go do whatever that makes you happy. And that's another tip. Follow your passion. Follow your heart. Whatever makes you happy. Sometimes we tend to sacrifice our feel-good factors because of relationships. We say, oh no, but this person needs me at this time. Forget it. I'm not going to do this for me. Although that's my only time to do it. But that's not good, because even if I'm doing something for the other person, my mind might be at the fact that I've actually sacrificed this, and this person may be now showing me attitude or not appreciating anything that I'm doing. And so I'm expecting things from there. I'm putting extra pressure on this relationship, which is unfair for the relationship, because they didn't know what I was wanting to do. It was my choice to actually sacrifice that time for this person. If I made that decision, I must do it fully, with a clean heart, and that's it. Be fully present. But that's why it's so important to do what you want to do, really fulfill your own desires. If you have a passion of drawing, draw, paint. If you have a passion of reading and you've just never read a book for the past 20 years because you just simply don't have time anymore, although before you would love to do it, well then go ahead and do it. Start doing. Make the changes to put yourself priority. Because when you put yourself as a priority, you're taking care of your feelings. You are taking care of your feelings. When you take care of your feelings, you're taking care of your relationships. Automatically, you're taking care of your relationships, because you're going to be happy, you're going to be joyful, you're going to be peaceful, you're going to be loveful. And so whoever you come into connection with will automatically feel that love. That's all they want, really. They don't really care about the external things, what you're doing. Ultimately, we all just want that love, that care, that support. So that is the tips that I can give. Abby, do you have any tips?
Yeah, I think, when I was saying earlier, I reflected on my reactions, like why do I react in a certain way? And I then did a bit of reading on the karma philosophy. We all know, as you sow, so shall you reap, kind of thing. But what I'm trying to say here is, I had this false illusion. We call it illusion Maya. I had this false illusion of justice. And when I'm talking about justice, what am I talking about? I'm talking about somebody does something bad to you, and you feel justified. Okay, tit for tat. I'm going to react in a certain way, and I might even do something worse. I might react in even a worse way. So I think, my tip here is tit for tat creates more karma. So you don't have to feel justified to react in a certain way, because if somebody does something bad, they might not know that they're doing something bad. If you react, you are reacting in a negative way that's equal and opposite to what they've done. So what I'm trying to say is, think about why you react, because only when you do this self-reflection and self-assessment will you be able to change the way you do things. So this feeling of being justified for me was wrong. Took me a while to realize, but yeah, thought I'd share that.
So we have, I think, some time for some questions and answers, I think.
Oh, for the
Basically, I heard about these actually, but mainly I just wanted to understand how to change it. I know it is a process actually, it takes a long time. Like people are on autopilot actually, you can say that. I have learned in my childhood and keeps going on up to this age. So basically, and it may go on actually if I don't stop it. So if I want to change that, in a rapid manner, what is the steps I need to take actually?
So change can be very, very quick. Like you want to change, you really don't want to do that, or it could be something that happens
But
over
that's not in
time.
my hand actually. It's like an autopilot. Sometimes I want
Exactly.
to give a response, but I react.
Yeah, I
So
know.
because it's like I'm become that way. It's not my thing, but it's like a habit. It's like a behavior actually. The thought becomes a feelings, and feelings becomes a behavior.
Exactly.
So to change that behavior or to transform myself, what is a good idea to do it? I mean,
Yeah.
the instant way.
Yeah.
It's not like too long way. I know the long way is I need to keep changing myself step by step.
Okay.
If there is something like it's rapid.
Yeah. So there are no shortcuts, unfortunately. But I think you've answered the question as you were speaking, but let's take a step back. Why are we acting in a certain way? Let's move back a few levels. So it starts off with our inner values. Everybody has inner values of love, peace, and happiness. And that drives your belief pattern. But the problem is our inner values sometimes is a bit muddied. And so we take on other emotions. And those emotions drive or those values, negative values, positive values, drives our beliefs. So it starts off with your values, and then your beliefs is essentially beliefs that you have accepted in your life and agreed with it. And that belief then drives your behavior, your skills, and your actions. And Amy was saying you do something constantly and constantly, and that's why you react in a certain way. So if you really want to change, you have to go back and really think about what are my inner values that are so important to me, so fundamental, and that's how I want to live my life, the best version of myself, which Amy was talking about. It's got to be love, peace, and happiness. If you ask anybody who don't take away material possessions, what do they really want? They will not talk about things. They'll talk about love, peace, and happiness. So that's what fundamentally is what we have. And then when you really have that acceptance of it, it'll change your belief and it'll change your behaviors. But the shortcut that's worked for me is having absolute distaste. I don't want to react that way because it's been so bad. Like I have this powerful emotion in me that I'm never ever going to do that. When you have that absolute distaste, you will find that when it happens, something will stop you from reacting. That's the short way, but you have to feel it quite strongly. Otherwise, you will just have this. I tell myself, I'm not going to shout, I'm not going to do this. But you're actually telling yourself, the brain doesn't hear, I'm not. The brain hears, I'm going to do this. So, work on this. I mean, it's sometimes to a level like it's neuro-linguistics programming. You're programming yourself, essentially. So the short answer is have absolute distaste for the negative stuff. You don't want to do it again. But the long run is, really go back to your core values. And the best way to do that is meditation. And it could be guided meditations is a good way to start. We love to meditate early in the morning, 3 in the morning. Sometimes we wake up because it's so peaceful. But Amy, what sort of tips do you have for?
Yeah, so I think meditation over a long period of time really tends to help because it's a more permanent fix rather than a short-term fix. If a person gives you something, an eminent person gives you something really important to take care of, you will guard it with your life. You'll take care of it. You'll ensure. You'll do everything. You'll arrange all the processes to make sure that this thing that you value, that this person values the most, is taken care of because they gave you the responsibility. So if you value something within you, so much so, that peace within you, so much so that you don't want that to be affected, you're going to make it a priority. You're going to make sure the arrangements is around there. You're doing the things to give you peace. You're actually doing the things that trigger the peace within. And so that will then make that internal change. So prioritize that. No, the reaction is not what I need. It's I take care of myself, and then automatically it will come out the right way.
Not really a question, but it's a reflection of what both of you said. 2 points.
Amy,
yeah. Amy, you said about do things that make you happy. But how do you find the balance between doing things that make you happy, but then you feel obliged to do things for family in a sense? You have to find that balance. Do you do things that make you happy and you do responsibilities for family?
Yeah.
That's your question. And sorry.
Avi.
So
easy. Amy.
And Avi, your one is you said about not to do tit for tat, which is true. But if you don't respond to what the person's doing, which may not be nice, it's like they think you're weak and they will keep doing it to you. So what do you do? 2 questions.
Yeah, it's good questions.
Okay, so in terms of balance, the fact is that it's important to take care of your daily responsibilities. So do that, but don't do it so much so that it takes away from time for you, if that makes sense. So it means getting organized. Get organized within yourself to make sure you have done all those responsibilities. Or maybe if it means waking up early or making a routine or preparing certain meals in certain times or what have you. So all the responsibilities taken care of. Now I have time for me. And there's plenty time. The time comes. And then it's putting yourself first to actually wanting to do that. So that's how to create the balance. Well, it worked for me.
Yeah. So this tit for tat is difficult because every situation is unique. And if you just keep quiet, what will happen is, as you said, you could be used as a doormat for it to repeat and repeat and repeat. But when you take a step back and you think about the situation you're in right now, it just didn't happen like that. And, I think sometimes when you try to explain yourself at the wrong time, you actually make the problems worse and worse and worse. And you end up saying the wrong things, but wanting to say the right things. It just, that's where the conflict is. And so the problem with us humans is we try to react when the situation happens. But there's so much time before the situation happens where we could have a conversation, where we could actually change the atmosphere or the environment, or move things around, or physical things or mental things, to actually pave the path for change to actually occur. And so just like when you go to work, if you work or if you take care of a family, you spend so much time doing the stuff. You need to spend that much more time doing it for yourself. And don't leave that change to happen when the situation asks for it. You can do it before. And I think that takes a lot of self-reflection around, this is the situation we're all in. No one is happy. The person I love is also in distress, because somebody who's angry, for example, they may not know it, but they're suffering, because anger is a negative emotion. It has negative impacts on the body. So they are genuinely suffering. But the reality is sometimes you need to draw the line. You need to keep with good company. You need to have pure food, good company, and good meditation, knowledge. All of this kind of stuff helps you with your atmosphere. So it's not something you can say, I'm going to change and it's going to happen. There's a lot of steps, from a diet to way of thinking, to your studies, to what you watch on TV. I mean, even cartoons have a lot of violence. Can you imagine the stuff we're teaching our children? So just like you say, is there a shortcut? Unfortunately, I wish there was a shortcut, but the good thing is the stuff that we do, the simple actions we take, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel great by taking it. And you're going to want to do even more and more. So it's going to amplify. And what's going to happen is not just you will feel that, the other person will feel it. And that's where change and transformation comes. And that's why I say relationships is a good trigger around what you're actually feeling inside yourself. It's a good trigger to measure where you're at, where you need to be.
Before you go, just go ahead. Before you just go ahead, you refer to the NLP.
Yeah.
So is it a fast way to sense something?
Yeah. So just like, whenever we've been brought up as children all the way to adults, we've been taught different ways. We've been taught to act like your mum's not happy with you, you get shouted at. And so in order to please my mum or my dad, I need to act in a certain way. But you need to build that inner resilience. So when I'm talking about programming, what I'm talking about is really go back deep inside and reframe what you were taught and think about how you can change it. So when somebody shouts at you, there's this fight or flight theory. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to fight. You don't have to flight. You can just give them good wishes, pure feelings. That's another way. So we have been brought up in society and school, whatever, in such a way that it could have been better. And so with meditation, with, positive studies, with actually talking to other people positively and explaining why and learning more about yourself, you're kind of programming yourself a different way so that you have a different version of yourself. It takes time because, 40 years I've been learning one way and now I need to spend the next 40 years to change it, kind of thing. So
because I have seen some of the videos of NLP.
Yeah.
A little bit I learned also NLP, actually, I can say that way. And some of the videos I have seen that within a one session you get a transformation.
Yeah.
What's your experience about it?
Yeah, so I've actually done NLP sessions. I participated in the advanced sessions and so on and so forth. The reality is you need to put effort to yourself, but you also need the support of the right people around you for that effort. So, family is important. And family is not just your immediate family, it could be your spiritual family as well. And personally for me, there's only one source that can give you the true power, and so I draw upon the true power. But that's just my personal view. And without that true power, I wouldn't be able to be the best version of myself.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just finish off with a few minutes of meditation. So just sit back, relax, settle in your seat. Take a deep breath in and out. And relax your body further. Now imagine there's a switch in every part of your body. Switch off your legs, your feet, your knees, your abdomen. Switch it off. Switch off your chest, your back, your arms, your neck. Come towards the middle of your forehead and take a seat. Switch off your face. As I sit here, the being, the one in charge, the one that holds all the core values, the values of love that is so dear to me. I experience that love. I think about peace now. The feeling of calm surrounds me. Peace envelopes every cell within me. My light shines bright in peace. I am that peace. I think of joy, and I feel the warmth of joy within. Having surrounded myself with love, peace, joy, my feelings are healing. Any feelings that caused me pain and suffering can now be replaced with this feeling of love, peace, and joy. I'm relaxed, I'm calm, and I'm connected. So I take these feelings to my relationships, the ones around me, the ones that are further away from me, and I send them these feelings of love, peace, and joy. The relationship has transformed. There's harmony, there's support, there's understanding. And so I'm grateful for this moment, this time of experiencing these values that I possess. And I take time to experience these as I move forward my daily life. I come back and gently switch on the switches, the one on my face, the neck, the back, the shoulders, the abdomen. I switch back my legs and my feet. But this time I have transformed, and I take the values of love, peace, and joy with me. Om Shanti.
We have a question from one of our YouTube viewers. And the question is, what when someone is constantly treating you in a cruel and unkind way for years? Do you walk away, or how do you transform your feelings?
Personally, it's really important to, one, see what's going inside, see what's being hurt, what's not working. And then whatever's not working, see into what's causing this pain and suffering and this being used in that way. And if you feel that this relationship is not great for you, then it's important to set boundaries. It's really important to protect yourself, set the right boundaries where you don't have the control at that time to say something. Set the boundaries where you know where to move away from the relationship when it becomes a little bit difficult. But not to run away, but to face within the self. And if you can't physically say something, than to say it with your mind, because the vibrations will reach the person. And I feel that then there will be that slow transformation. So that's my understanding on how I think difficult relationships, I've had difficult relationships where the vibration can literally change. So my attitude and that example of visualizing that relationship to be really, the perfect relationship can actually then become a reality. So it takes time. Protect yourself, always protect yourself. If it's, violating, quite bad, then yes, it's important to put yourself priority and remove yourself, but always go out in a positive manner. That's my understanding. Anything?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, if, it's hard to tell with relationships, but if the relationship is extremely cruel and really morally wrong against the law, you've got to seek help and move on. There's no doubt about that. That is just crossed the line. But then, as Amy was saying, if the relationship you feel that can be worked on and really salvaged in some sort of way, then the positivity will have an impact.
So join me in thanking both of them. It's a beautiful practical tips you've shared. I just wanted to summarize a few things. Learning to take charge and not giving your power away. And such a beautiful exercise you conducted earlier, and the final meditation as well. And the few points as tips: visualization, list of what we're grateful for, and learning and knowing when to plug out our devices, especially, and maintaining the balance and following your passion. And I also like this point you said about false justification and how we used to justify our anger or when we are upset. And so moving away from that. And there is no quick fix as such, but the intermediate method and the tip that you shared about just having that absolute distaste for what you don't want to do, like anger or being upset. And this is a point that was very much underlined in our study class this morning, is that not to, pinpoint or take on board people's defects, because then they become yours as well. And so thank you all for coming. Thank you for sharing. And those 60 plus online viewers, thank you as well for your questions. Just to announce about a few things that's coming. Next week, we have Sister Maureen, who will be coming with us to share on the theme of secret of smile. So why being able to smile is so important. And that's on 2nd of April. 6th of April, 2 to 4, we have self-esteem course, which is on a Saturday. And as you are aware that Mondays and Thursdays, we have 7 to 7:30 meditation, both in person, in-house, you can come or join us online. And every Sunday, 10 to 10:45 is online meditation. So, and if you haven't really subscribed for our newsletters and YouTube channel, it's time you do, and you can listen to this talk again or any of the previous talks in the last few years are all on our YouTube channel and much more. So do go and have a look. And product for the week is It's Time to Do the Inner Work by Sister Aruna Ladwa. So the shop will be open for a few minutes. As you go out, you might want to browse it. Thank you for coming, and thank you, the online viewers.
you.